Right then, so in the last video, I was talking about the Rocky franchise and some of the stuff that's coming in the pipeline, namely the 4K Blu-ray set, which is going to include the director's cut of Rocky 4. Now, we're going to elaborate a little bit on that here today with my co-reviewer, John, who's been on the show before. We're going to talk about that, but we're also going to get into some of the legal stuff, the things that Stallone, both Sylvester and his brother Frank, have been saying quite publicly about the one of the producers and the ownership of the Rocky franchise as it is. We're going to kind of get into kind of the fairness of that and some of the thoughts that we have, given that we don't really know the full picture on the thing. We're also going to talk about the director's cut, like I say, Creed 3, certain other aspects as well. So stick with us because we've got quite a bit to talk about. And yeah, here we go. Check it out.
So I did a video a couple of days ago talking about the Rocky films. Well, the first four films are getting a 4K Blu-ray release, which includes the director's cut of number 4. And I haven't seen that. I know what's in it. I've seen the scenes, but I haven't actually just sat down and watched the whole thing. You watched it though, I understand.
I have watched Rocky 4 director's cut, and it's quite an incredible cut because the film is about the same length, but he has removed and added, which is quite an incredible feat, and it works incredibly well. And it goes to such an extent where there's certain scenes where he throws a punch, and in retrospect, the punch would not have been thrown right. So he's been able to rejig it, so the punch is even thrown at the right angle. So there's been an awful lot gone into it. And what I would suggest you doing is, how would I do this looking back? I would watch the director's cut, and then I would watch what he's removed from it and see how it works, and you'll just be staggered by it because you'll be watching it going, what has he removed? Because it looks that together, it's hard to comprehend what he's done with it. And
Yeah.
sadly, I know you're particularly upset because I know in that film one of your best moments in Rocky 4 was the robot that Paulie
Yeah.
had. I know you were a big fan of the robot, as was the core. In fact, the core wanted one of those robots, did he not, when he was younger?
He has a robot, but I think it's a sex one.
It's just
Yeah.
latex
kind
or
of
metal.
Latex, I think. Oh no, that was the Topher. Yeah, but yeah.
The screeching doll of the core. Yeah. Anyway, where did we get to? We got to, we were talking about Rocky 4, but yeah, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. It's brilliantly, it's great resolution. It's a different thing altogether. It's a really, really good, it's, for me, I hated Rocky 4, and it's gone up in my estimations. It's now, I would think I would put Rocky 2, Rocky 4, Rocky 1, and Rocky 3 if I had to go now after that.
Yeah, fair play. Well, I know they did some certain little things like changing the music around a little bit. So, like right at the end, as he does his "Everybody Can Change" scene, the instead of going into the song "Hearts on Fire," it goes into "Eye of the Tiger," which is a bit odd because that's a Rocky 3 song. I know it plays at the beginning of the film because it's recapping, but it's recapping after Rocky 3, so that makes sense. But to put it in at the end of the film is a bit weird, but it's a good song, so whatever.
And there's also, I can't remember where, but Drago gets some more lines as well. So it fleshes
Yeah,
out quite a bit more as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
I did watch the documentary. I watched the YouTube documentary where Stallone was talking about it because basically he edited this in 2020 when everything was shut down and he had access to this building and their editing suite. So he spent a lot of months in there recutting Rocky 4. So
yes,
interesting.
yeah, it is really interesting that he's got to do this, and I'm a bit confused really because is he making any money from Rocky 4 given the situation?
Yeah, because this is what we're going to talk about, wasn't it? Because I didn't really get
Yes.
into that before. I would have thought so because he was involved with it. That was a film, obviously, he was involved with. Unlike the Creed movies, where the ownership of it, I believe, is between Ryan Coogler, the original producers, was it Irwin Winkler's children, anyway, and Michael B. Jordan, who plays Adonis Creed, because he's a
Yes.
producer as well. In fact, he's directed. I think he actually directs the new one. The guy that plays Creed is directing Creed 3. It's his debut for directing, I think. But Stallone doesn't have any stake in that, from what I understand. It's a bit vague. There's been some talk about it. I know he's been posting on his own Instagram for the past several months, maybe 6, 7, 8 months or something, and he's been quite
And he's
bitter,
got quite.
hasn't it?
He has. Now, there's one of two ways you can look at it. You know, I know people have been saying that the Rocky prequel that they're going to be doing is a bad idea, but yet when Stallone announced there was going to be a prequel about Rocky a couple of years back now, nobody seemed to think it was a bad idea then. It's almost like somewhere it's been lost in translation that it was actually given the green light when Stallone was on board. I don't know whether the issue is because Stallone's not involved in it anymore, but a couple of videos that I'd seen almost skirted over the fact that Stallone had announced it. I think I sent you one of the links, didn't I, other day to that. I've got mixed feelings about it. So when Rocky was released, it was written by Stallone. Absolutely get that. But could Stallone have got that film greenlit without Winkler? What would your view be on that?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, those guys were working with other big actors at the time, like in the mid-70s, like Charles Bronson. I've been watching a few of his films recently, just coincidentally, and quite a few of those films were produced by Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff. And it is one of those things. It's like, Stallone obviously got what he got because he made a deal that he made, and if he's having to stick to that kind of sucks, but that's the terms of it, so he's going to have to live with that. What I understand makes it worse, though, is apparently something got renegotiated in more recent years behind his back. I don't know if it was like some unscrupulous agent that he got, and they signed his rights away or something without him knowing, or without him consenting to it.
If that's the case, that's a whole different ballgame. But how would somebody like Stallone not sign off on something? And that's what I can't understand. Of course, it's Hollywood, isn't it? We're never going to know the intricacies of it. But if we were involved in something at work, let's just say, and contracts, terms and conditions were going to be changed, we would have been made aware, wouldn't we? It wouldn't have been done behind our back. Having said that, these things, I wonder if he gives these agents and management teams certain rights to do certain things. It's a very strange thing, is this? I don't really know what to think of it. Do I think that Stallone should have some right in it? Absolutely. But I don't know what stake. I don't know what stake you'd go to. I don't know how you'd do that, because Rocky is, I think, it'll probably be $1 billion franchise. What I would have thought.
Yeah, and this Creed 3 film, I'm coming to that from a point of view where I really liked the first two Creed films. I'd absolutely be on board with this, and I'm not like boycotting it as far as I'm concerned at the moment, anyway. But from what I understand, Stallone isn't in it and doesn't want anything to do with it, and has specifically said they've taken the characters and the story into a dark place that he didn't want it to go, which I understand. Like, when somebody isn't happy with where sequels go, we can still enjoy those sequels. There'll be plenty of examples out there. But this is reminding me of when Mark Hamill said, "I fundamentally disagree with every direction you've taken this." You remember that?
Yeah, I do. I'm looking at it now, and it is a $1.6 billion franchise. Is Rocky, as at the end of Creed 2.
Yeah.
He must have. I'm just looking at Creed 2 now. I just want to look into Creed 2. Who would be produced? Stallone had a producer's credit on Creed 2.
Yeah. I think that was like part of the deal. But going forward, he doesn't have anything with regards to it.
Well, according to, now this is only on Wikipedia, Stallone has got a credit of producer.
It might be in a similar sense like that Tim Burton got a producer credit for Batman Forever. That was the first Batman film that he didn't direct, and he had zero to do with it. He approved nothing, signed nothing other than the fact that he signed it over. So it might be something technical like that with Stallone. It'll be just like you have like silent partners and stuff.
Yes. I mean, I'm looking at this. You've got Victor Drago's going to be in it again, and I'm just wondering whether or not I've seen the trailer. Have you seen the trailer for Creed 3?
Yeah, it looks okay.
The character who he's playing, it's very much reminiscent of, you got Creed, who is effectively playing the Stallone character, and you've got his mate who's effectively playing Clubber Lang. I think that's how it's looking.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
I pity the fools who do that, but no, I think it'll be a good. I certainly aren't going to be dissuaded from going to see it anywhere. I've enjoyed. I think we've been to Creed 1 and 2 together, haven't we? Yeah, I think I certainly want to go to see Creed 3. Whether or not you go with who you go with, I don't know, but I'm definitely will be going to see that and seeing it on the cinema screen, because I think there's something to be said about a sports type film that's on a bigger screen.
Yeah.
I really do think that's definitely.
Yeah, I watched all the others. I saw Rocky Balboa in the cinema. I think I went on my own to see that back in like 2007. But I never saw any of the others because I was a bit young. I think Rocky 5 came out in 1990, and I wasn't really into those. My mother didn't like the Rocky films when, well, I liked him as I was getting older, but she didn't like them because she said, I'm not going to do the voice, but because his face is always puffed up and swollen when he's been fighting, and I don't like.
I think your mum had a very fair point, Joseph. A puffed up face. I do think so, yeah.
But yeah, so going back with the Drago thing, that's another thing, because Stallone and his brother Frank Stallone were posting quite a bit of stuff about how they've been screwed over with the Rocky franchise, but also when that was aimed at Irwin Winkler and his kids. And there was like a photograph of him as Irwin Winkler, like as a vampire, like sucking the blood out of Rocky. It was pretty freaky, actually, if you check it out. But he got another level came when he fell out publicly with Dolph Lundgren because he'd signed up to be part of whatever this TV miniseries is about Drago and his son. Maybe I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but. He signed on to be involved with that without speaking to Stallone about it, and Stallone's been like kind of pushed out, like kicked out of the party. Now, Dolph Lundgren, as it turns out, was a bit naive and admitted this. He assumed Stallone was on board when he signed up. So when he explained that, Stallone was like, "Oh well, okay, then I understand. Maybe I've been a bit harsh." So there's been a bit of drama there as well.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to make of it. I need to do some more reading on it. But if Stallone, is he? I don't know. Is it just Rocky he's got a thing with?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that's connected, any other franchises or anything. I can't think of anywhere. He'd done, because obviously back in the day he was doing. I was looking at my Stallone collection. I know he did some of his early films. Obviously, was like First Blood, and then he did a couple of films like Fist and Paradise Alley. I think they were MGM as well. Nighthawk,
Yeah,
Universal.
I'm just looking at Irwin, sorry, not Irvin. And I'm just seeing, has he got any Rambo link into this? And he hasn't.
I don't think so. No, he tended to do sort of lower budget films. Not lower budget, but like not your huge, massive budget ones. Like I said, I do recall he worked a bit with Charles Bronson, because I watched a couple of those films. Those were MGM ones as well.
But he was also an actor, was Winkler. He's a Best Supporting Actor winner at the Oscars.
Okay.
He's won that.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this. So that's where he first came to light. They Shoot Horses, Don't They? That was the film. It was well nominated in '69, but he won in Best Supporting Actor. And just looking at it, it's Academy Awards, The Irishman, that sort of thing. So he's been involved in that.
Yeah, working with Scorsese and some older ones. That rings a bell, does that? I seem to remember seeing that name come up because there were connections with Rocky and The Godfather as well, because obviously there were some actors like the guy who plays the loan shark that he works for. Oh, I can't remember the actor's name now, but he was in The Godfather as well, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
So yeah, there were a few, and obviously Talia Shire as well. She was in The Godfather. She was one of the Corleones. So
Yes.
yeah.
Oh no, sorry, he wasn't in. He wasn't the actor. I'm just looking at what they have actually run. But yeah, he wasn't Corleone's, wasn't he? He's been involved all over, hasn't
he? Yeah. So it ties in a lot with that. So when you watch Rocky, you kind of think like it feels very kind of low budget, but with something really magical about it that just kind of came together. But there were a bit of, some big names with that at the time, and some big producers that kind of got involved with it. And Stallone was kind of a nobody, so he had to really kind of do a bit of a trade-off in order to get not just get his film made, but also to be in the film and to get scenes filmed that they basically said, no, we're not going to give you the time and money to do this scene. And like the scene where he's in bed with Adrian just before the fight, and he's saying no one's ever gone the distance with Creed before. If I can just go, there's no way I'm going to beat him, but if I can go the distance, then it'll show that I'm not just another bum. And that's the essence of Rocky. It wasn't to win; it was to go the distance, to keep on moving forward. And they didn't want to film that, but I think they just shot it all in like one take in one night. So
Brilliant
little
film.
things like that.
But yeah, this little talk has made me want to go revisit Rocky.
Oh, well, I got something to show you as well. Actually, I've had this. Well, I've had this for a long time. This cassette. It was. I bought it, if you remember, John Phillips of Skipton on Newmarket Street. Before Amazon, I've still got the receipt for this, actually, weirdly enough. I bought this in 1995 on cassette, and it's kind of the Rocky IV soundtrack, but with Gonna Fly Now. So it's like supposedly like, and it's got Eye of the Tiger as well. But it's like a best of like Rocky soundtrack, and I used to play this back when I was about like 14. And I was like trying to get into shape and stuff, and I'd go out running with my cassette Walkman, and of course the music would start like as I was jostling as I was running. The music would be like, because cassette tapes are a bit shit like that.
It is all, and always when you jostle and run, it's never a good idea.
But yeah, I've still got it, and I do have a cassette player in my home gym downstairs, so I can actually play this still. Sometimes it serves me now as it did back then. So
excellent.
But yeah, well, looking forward to this 4K set anyway. I think they're just doing what they did with Star Trek, where they're just releasing the first 4 films. Obviously, Creed 1 and 2 are already on 4K Blu-ray, but that leaves Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa out of the equation. It's like, I don't know why they do that. They will. I bet they'll release them in about a year or so, and then there'll be like another box set with all 6 Rocky movies in.
Rocky 5 is awful.
Yeah, it's the weakest. There's no denying that.
It is the weakest, and I think it has Stallone's actual son in, doesn't it?
Yeah, Sage Stallone. No, it's number 5. He's dead now, isn't he? Sage Stallone.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, he died a few years ago. Well, about 10 years ago, I think. He was an interesting guy. Apparently, he was working on projects for like restoring like old movies and stuff. I don't know, like which studio or which house it was he was working for. But you get all these boutique like studios and stuff where they get older films and restore them.
Yes.
And I don't quite know the extent of it, but
it's really good though, isn't it? That sort of thing.
Yeah,
that they do that, and they do like Arrow do a lot of it. I really rate Arrow.
Yeah. Well, literally, I can just reach out now and just pull off my shelf like an Arrow Blu-ray. I've got like loads of them. So yeah.
I'm just looking at this. Yeah, he died 2012 July.
Yeah.
He died of a coronary artery disease. No drugs detected other than an over-the-counter pain remedy. So it's a very, very sad loss. 36 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. He's about a bit older than me, I think, at the time.
It's sad. Very, very sad is that.
I never thought he really looked like Stallone. I always thought he looked a bit more like John Travolta than Stallone. It was a bit of a, if you see it when he was older, especially.
Yes, yeah, I kind of see that.
Which is odd because Stallone did work with John Travolta. Stallone directed Staying Alive. That was the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. I haven't seen it.
And there's a big big picture of Stallone's son.
Yeah.
He does have very much a look.
Yeah.
Of Travolta.
Yeah.
Maybe we've stumbled on something there we shouldn't have done.
Yeah, it's not like Prince Harry and what were his name?
James Hewitt.
James Hewitt, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think even James Hewitt would want to be associated with that now, but that's a different story.
For another day, for another BXR, the Prince Harry story.
We'll have Jeremy Clarkson on for that as well, I think, as a guest.
Yes, we should. Yes,
no,
no, he's been let go from Amazon, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, shit, we're running over a bit. So yeah, well, any other points we've not covered?
No, I think we've covered everything, buddy. So thank you for having us on again.
Yeah, well, I love the Rocky films. They're up there for me with Star Wars and The Godfather and all the others. Rocky to me is very, very sacred sort of place. Very
much.
I haven't done that many videos for it. We'll do follow-ups anyway as things develop, I'm sure.
We should do.
Cool. Well, to everyone else, you can like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks to John for coming on.
Thank you very much, John.
So I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. You can like and subscribe, like I say, and check back because we will be talking about Rocky in the upcoming months, no doubt.